Accessing library computer data.
Out there are no saints, just people.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. Welcome back to Deep Space Nine. It's been a while. This is the first Deep Space Nine, I think, that I've been recording since Discovery started. If you're unaware, we're splitting time between Discovery, the new Star Trek show, and Deep Space Nine. But anyway, we're up to episode 12 of season 1 of Deep Space Nine. It's called Vortex. Written by Sam Rolfe, directed by Weinrich Colby, aired back on April 18th, 1993. In this episode, a fugitive from the Gamma Quadrant attempts to trade evidence about Odo's people for freedom. We're joined by Modi to talk about this one. Modi, how are you?
I am great.
It's been a while.
Excited to be back.
Yeah,
it has been.
We had to we did a little bit of reconnaissance before we started recording, trying to figure out when the last episode you did, and it was actually like episodes 3 and 4 of Deep Space Nine. We haven't actually made it that far, but we're advancing through season 1, so you're back for your sort of second recording session anyway to talk about Deep Space Nine. But have you been watching Discovery?
I've watched everything except for the very last episode that aired because I was out of town. But
okay.
other than that, I watched the first 3 then.
Do you want to give quick thoughts about it, and then we'll lead that into the Deep Space Nine discussion?
I really liked the first 2 episodes, and the second one was not as good. I think that pretty much agrees with what you were saying on the podcast. And again, the third one, I don't know. I saw some of your tweets on it. I'm like a little nervous watching it now.
Oh, really?
But yeah, I mean, it could be good. I think if it finds its way, it'll be good. I think it can be good. I think it's a good setup, and I think it has good actors in it. And I think that, I don't know. I don't expect it to be. I don't want it to be Star Trek necessarily. I don't really care if it's Star Trek or not. I just want it to be good.
Sure.
And sometimes it's just not.
Right.
And
yeah.
I was going to mention this to you. Like it seems to play out more if I think of it in the terms of Mass Effect than I do Star Trek. Actually,
sure.
It works very nicely within the Mass Effect universe than it does compared to the Star Trek universe.
So
just the way the sets look, the way the costumes look, everything's very. And the way the drama works in that game, it's very much that. It seems
gotcha.
Like.
Yeah, I think
we're taking a cue from that.
That makes sense. I think that, yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll sort of get into it. I brought it up mostly as a way to, like I started at the top of the episode saying that this is my first Deep Space Nine episode coming back into it. I had a little bit of a backlog recorded before it, but this is the only one that I've watched since.
It's a big transition, I'm sure.
It
coming
is
back from this to that.
I think that, well, I'll just say it briefly that I don't know if, Deep Space Nine feels like a old glove or something, kind of. Like it has and I didn't even really know that I wanted that out of Star Trek, but I sort of wonder. We'll get into it. I'm going to play an audio clip. Me and Modi are going to come back and we're going to talk about Vortex.
Hey everybody, normally there's an audio clip here where I play a little section of the episode to give people a taste, a reminder of what they're missing. But in this case, this is the second upload of Vortex on YouTube because CBS took down the other one. They gave me a copyright strike, and I can only assume it's because of these clips. So instead, I'm going to cut those bits out of this one and re-upload it, and I will just say, fuck you, CBS, fuck you. It's clearly fair use. It's just audio clips in a stock background. There's nothing about the episode. It's like 30 seconds of something. And there are hundreds of videos on YouTube with people ripping scenes directly. But anyway, fuck you, CBS. Guys, back to the show.
So Modi, as we get into this, Vortex is a Odo character study, essentially. It's a continuing in the lines of examining all of these new characters that we've been dealt for this first season of Deep Space Nine. We're getting a chance to look into what makes Odo tick. We know that Odo is a mysterious character who doesn't know where he came from. He doesn't know if there are others of his kind out there. So we're going to get an episode where he meets an alien who gives him a shape-shifting necklace and says that he sees other shapeshifters out there in the universe. Odo should go out and check it out. And I wanted to bring it up for Discovery because my main criticism of Discovery, I don't want to turn this into a Discovery thing, but my main criticism of Discovery is there hasn't been a character episode quite like this one. Not to say that this is a great episode of the show or anything.
Anyways, but
not yet. But I feel Discovery is like calling out for a character episode like this, and the big difference in like how the shows look and feel, there's the scenes of characters in Deep Space Nine where they're just characters talking to each other are so plentiful, and it's like 90% of the show in a lot of ways. And Discovery doesn't really do that. It doesn't have characters talking to each other. I feel like it's something they kind of miss about it. But anyway, would you...
It just feels like characters shouting at each other almost, is what it feels like comparatively. Like, because it moves so quick compared to this show.
It does, yeah.
Because they cram a lot into an episode of Discovery. And yeah, this moves a lot slower. It's got those scenes of just conversation and character building, even for characters we already know.
Right.
And Discovery could definitely use some of that, I think.
Yeah, it's
a good character building and good dialogue and that kind of thing, maybe.
Right. I don't think this episode is any great shakes or anything, but it's
really,
not. It was really startling to
all.
me how much they were really going to go into the character of Odo. And how far of Deep Space Nine have you watched? You've only watched the first season, right?
Yeah, I've watched about the first like 4 episodes of season 2, I think, as far as I've gotten.
Do you know anything about what happens in Deep Space Nine? Like, do you know the sort of overarching... Okay, so you don't know the Odo storyline or anything like that?
No, I don't. Nope.
So before I ask you what you thought about Vortex, I will say that I think Vortex is an episode that would be viewed very differently by people who were unfamiliar with the series and people who are familiar with the series. I think you might view it more positively if you're familiar and you sort of know where things go from here. And I think you might be a little bit bored by it if you are unfamiliar or you don't know where it's going to go. So why don't you just tell me what you thought about the episode in general?
I mean, in general, I did fall asleep like 3 times during it. I was very tired after my vacation, but I did manage to like get to the end of the episode and be like, oh wait, I fell asleep during half of that. So I'm going to rewind and rewatch that part. And then I rewound it, rewatched what I missed, and fell asleep again. So I rewound that again and finished it out. And I did enjoy it when I did stay awake for it. But yeah, I don't know. I love the character of Odo. I think that they can do some interesting things with his morality that he doesn't have to play by the rules of everyone else. And I do like that they explore that so much. I just don't know why he gets conned by this guy. He seems way smarter than that if he's that desperate to understand himself.
Yeah, I think that's...
But he gets very easily conned by a very bad con man.
Do you think it's a con, or do you think that it's a...
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So you think, well, I guess I kind of interpret a little bit of hostile intent on the con man's part. Do you think that this guy had... Like, because this guy's aims are ultimately kind of like a good cause. He just needs to trick Odo.
Yeah, I don't think it was nefarious. I think he's just doing and saying whatever he can, using whatever tools are at his disposal, and he sees a mark.
Sure.
And he sees a way in here. And for some reason, Odo falls for it, but he doesn't. He plays them for sure. Like, he doesn't know anything about
the changelings. Yeah.
I mean, like he said, I think when at the end when he says they're a legend among my people, but that's all I know, and that kind of thing. I think that's the truth.
Yep.
And he never actually met any. He doesn't know anything about it. The medallion, as he's pointed out, is not actually, even though it does have the changeling kind of characteristics and DNA in it, it doesn't actually have any significance to that. So he's on the level at the very end there, and is real about that. But other than that, he doesn't know anything, and he's totally playing, just using anything he can at his disposal. It's just classic like con man kind of stuff going on here.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I think that this story is not particularly interesting or anything like that. Like, there's no great shakes to the plot arc that goes on. I don't think that anything about the setup is particularly interesting outside of the, it's yet another scene of Quark up to no good and Odo sort of,
and those scenes are always great though. And those scenes between Quark and Odo are always good.
They are.
So I don't mind that, but yeah, it's kind of just the same.
And then it just ends up in this place where Odo gets this guy out. He reveals that his daughter's, in the stasis chamber. Odo helps him, and then Odo lets him go at the very end. He comes about to realize that he doesn't want to bring this guy into justice. And I guess he learns a little bit that the guy kind of did help him figure something out about himself. What I will say...
In a roundabout way, yeah.
Yeah, what I will say is that when I was talking about, like, if you're familiar with the series, liking it a little bit more... The The thing about what happens here is that they do a very good job later of bringing Odo and the Changelings to match with what this episode says about them. I think that's kind of all I want to say about it. But like this doesn't feel like it's as much of a one-off as I think people might feel if you're unfamiliar with the series. Like this is going to mean something kind of going forward. So it has an importance going forward. I just don't think that as a character study piece, I could see watching this episode being bored by it and then saying, well, he didn't really learn anything at the very end. Like he ended up basically not knowing anything about his people at all because it seems like this guy might just be lying to him. Sure, he's got this necklace. And
possibly more confused than before even too, based on the things the guys told him. I mean, he might not even know even more than he did before. He might know less than he did before even.
Right, exactly. So I think the episode could be frustrating in that kind of a way. And I don't think it's particularly riveting or anything like that. I think that it actually it brings up a lot of questions about Odo to me in a way that I don't think is really a very good way to think about it, such as does his mass change when he shapeshifts? Like how can he change into a glass? Yeah, right. Should Ram have been able to pick up that table? And the other funny thing is that he can apparently get knocked out by a rock, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Nope.
And he doesn't lose his form.
If that's the case.
Right. And
also he gets shattered at one point and doesn't seem to mind at all.
I kind of like that T-1000 aspect of it. I thought that's appropriate, but I didn't understand throwing the glass or anything like that. So you said that you liked the character of Odo. Did you think that this episode, was it a step in the right direction, or did you just sort of end up frustrated by it?
Boy, I mean, it made me not like him as much actually by the end of it, because I was digging his kind of his curmudgeonly, what I was gonna say, like lawful neutral kind of guy.
Yeah.
But before then, after this, the fact that he got taken by this guy, and I don't know. I was starting to think about, like, would Odo have helped this guy had he been straight with him and said, hey, I need help with my daughter who's stuck in cryostasis and yada yada. I don't think Odo would have helped him looking at it that way. But then at the end, the guy didn't really do anything except further his own causes.
Yeah.
And but still Odo decides to help him at the end because he actually sees the humanity or whatever that makes him decide to help him.
Right.
Just this poor sap, basically, that he wants to help out finally. But he wouldn't have done that had it been just presented to him like as raw facts of, hey, my daughter's in trouble. I want to get her to safety. I don't care about myself, but I need to get her out of here. He wouldn't have helped, though, is the thing.
No, he probably wouldn't. And I think it ties into the fact that are they called the Miradorn or whatever, the twins that are sort of the enemy twins? Yeah. They feel completely detached from the story, like they only exist to sort of give this dramatic chase scene at the end, or not. It's not even a chase scene. It's just to give someone that's hunting Odo to like apply a little bit of pressure to him to move the plot forward and stuff like that.
It seems like a very big development or just a whole species arc, basically, between these two twins from this what is it, Gamma Quadrant culture we've never heard of before, that they've invented all this story about twins being symbiotic and very interesting stuff on its own right. That's just kind of thrown in here and thrown away, basically.
It doesn't mean anything. He says, like, I need my twin to survive.
Way too interesting for the story.
And then he shows, like, there's no ill effects to the other twin who's left alive. It's not like he's dying or anything. He just seems to be bitchy.
He's really sad.
Right.
But you could have just done that with a regular brother, though, couldn't you?
Right, you could have. You didn't
have to do it with twins that they're symbiotic for some reason.
You could just, it could have just been a straight sort of vengeance story or something from his perspective. Yeah, I think so.
And the guy dies at the end anyway, so it doesn't really even really mean anything at the end of it.
No, it ends up not amounting to anything.
Odo straight up murders the guy anyways, so there's that too.
The Quark stuff at the very start, did you feel that that's in character for Quark? His kind of...
I was trying to figure that out. It seems like such a big screw up to trust Rom with anything, and it doesn't unless my thought, because I think Quark is smart and he doesn't make mistakes.
Okay.
So things that look like mistakes are on purpose. So, like, the fact that he, as soon as he gets done telling Odo that he doesn't know who this person is, immediately turns to Rom and say, get the glasses and get the fine wine for me.
Right.
In earshot of Odo, like it doesn't. I feel like that stuff shouldn't happen by accident. So he was trying to get Odo in the room because it furthers his agenda. His agenda here was stealing the thing, because that's what he got the other guy to come in and do.
Right.
That's why he had provided the gun, as Odo points out before, that he had a Ferengi weapon.
Yeah,
So he's trying to tip the scales in his favor one way or another. He's got a backup plan. He's got the original plan, and the chaos he can throw in with Odo being there it works in his favor. And I feel like that's why he made the screw up. Because why would you trust Rom with any? He's so oblivious to everything. Why would you even bother talking to the guy?
Right.
Why do you keep him around unless it furthers your ends?
Yeah, I would say he's family, but they have that Ferengi rule of acquisition about...
They really don't care about that.
His business comes before family or whatever it is. Yeah, I think that he... the Quark stuff kind of felt a little bit, a lot of the plot stuff here in service of trying to figure out the Odo character feels to me like it's just kind of, it's just being done because it needs to advance the plot in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's a solid story on that front.
Oh yeah, I've read too much into it because I don't want Quark to be screwing up this badly.
Right, you need him to be a little bit...
It's a personal vendetta thing I have going on. I don't want him to be stupid, so I'm trying to make apologies to him by having this elaborate plot, but it might just be that the writing was just bad.
Yeah,
so that's also possible.
Well, I think that because I kind of wondered, like, it's an interesting thing you brought up. Like, is Quark smart or capable? He seems to be, right? Because Odo has not been able to put him away over the course of the entire series yet. Like,
and he seems to know how to play Odo too. Like, he seems to know how to manipulate Odo.
Yes, they have a good antagonistic relationship where Quark knows how to upset Odo more than anybody else, I think, in the show. And he uses that to his advantage. He always gets kind of caught, but not really. So, I mean, they do it obviously to keep the gimmick of the show going in the relationship, because we can't have Quark in prison for the rest of the series or anything like that. But it's
I'd still watch.
Right. It would have a lot more Odo and Quark scenes going on, I think. I thought that I think it's fine. It really, the big question out of that scene was just like, how do you throw Odo as a glass? Like, why does he weigh less when you pick him up? Especially because there's a scene later where the guy says you're heavier than you look when he drags Odo out of the cave. That's
so weird. How does he affect his mass like that? He should be like a 180-pound glass of just empty glass.
Right, exactly. He can be small, but he just weighs a lot or something like that because he's very, very dense. After that, I think that it's, the guest stars are whatever. It's fine.
I wasn't too thrilled by the acting on the main guy's part.
No, he felt a little, and we'll get into more of it with the next episode, I think. But the guest acting here is not particularly great, and it doesn't do a lot to service the episode. The con man character is kind of... he's like the affable con man type guy, so he's not totally unlikable or anything like that. So you get on board with all of that. This is the first time that Changeling has been used, which will be what they call them.
Thrilled with that term.
You don't like that?
I like shapeshifter as a better term, but Changeling is fine, I guess.
Changeling sounds like a species. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you could identify it, and they are called changelings going forward. So this guy sort of lies about, or he plays on the myth of his people about the changelings, and he brings up the fact that the changelings used to live... Let me know if any of this is wrong. Changelings used to live on the planet that he lived on. They eventually sort of got exiled by people, or the people sort of got scared of them and made them leave and everything like that. And so the changelings now live on sort of a mysterious area where this guy stumbled into an asteroid field or something, and he found some changelings, and they gave him the necklace and everything like that. And he has a lot of he tells Odo a lot of time that he's being arrogant and sort of paranoid, and he says that those are traits of changelings. What did you think about that? Is that him playing Odo, or is that something?
I took that as him playing Odo. I took that as a I thought of it like a cult leader kind of thing. Like a cult leader will tell you that you're alone in the universe and that I'm the only person with the answers that can save you. And it seemed like early in the episode when he's sitting in the cell being like, oh, I can't just tell you, I have to take you there. And I'm the only person that can help you because I'm the only person that really understands you here. And that's how I thought he's working his game on him. So the whole thing's about, it's like reading your horoscope. It's like, because however you are is how you're supposed to be, kind of thing. So he just kind of plays into it. It's like, oh yeah, you are like that.
Gotcha.
You must really not fit in here, and I understand you better than everyone else does.
So he's
and
just
that's his way
pointing
of
out.
getting in.
He's pointing out Odo's character traits to make Odo sort of believe that he's part of something bigger. Than that.
He believes that this guy knows what he's talking about by buying in. And somehow, for some reason, Odo falls for it.
Yeah. I think that's interesting, and I think that
I liked it better when Odo was completely distrustful, but's going along with it anyways because he wants to see how it plays out. I kind of liked that angle of it that it took when it first got on the ship. I think
sure
when he decided to just take the guy to the asteroid and to see what happens. That part I liked that angle for him, but then I don't know. It seemed like he was buying into it.
When do you think it flipped? Was that?
I don't know.
Okay, because to me
tough.
the key weakness part of this, it's not really the key weakness, but like the part that I sort of sat up and said like what's going on is when they get to the asteroid or whatever it is, they get to the cave where the guy's daughter is, and he runs off, and Odo chases after him, and Odo says, just kind of out of the blue, he's like, "You're lying to me, and now we're leaving." Like there's no evidence to explain why Odo has suddenly stopped believing this guy, but he all of a sudden just stops believing him, and the guy at that point has to tell him why he's really there. And
right, he finally caught on to the ruse kind of thing,
but for no reason.
For some reason,
I don't
for no
understand
reason
why.
though.
Yeah, and then so they do that, and then it reveals like my daughter's here, you got to help me, and Odo helps them and everything like that, and they resolve it from there. But I thought it was just a really lazy writing beat right there.
Yeah, it didn't ring very true.
And then after that, the daughter stuff. What'd you think of the daughter?
I thought she was fine.
Yeah, she thought she was fine.
I liked her better than the dad. So,
her
acting didn't really stand out to me as bad. His acting stood out to me as bad, but hers did not. So,
I was expecting much worse than what I got. I was expecting like when the child actor kind of appears and it's like, oh, it's like a father-daughter relationship, and her acting sort of like betrays the whole thing and makes it super cheesy. That doesn't really happen. Mm-hmm. She doesn't have much of you almost didn't even really need to wake her up out of stasis in a lot of ways. You could have just had her in the thing and just have to carry her around. But it didn't ruin anything for me. It didn't really heighten it or anything.
The dad, I just remember the dad tried to get Odo to raise his daughter at one point.
Yes.
He was like, "You're alone. You need someone in your life. Raise my daughter for me."
Yeah, he said
while I go off to die.
He said it in a very prostitution-y kind of language. He's like, hey,
yeah, it was really weird. It was kind of creepy, yeah.
Yeah, we're all lonely. Maybe my daughter can keep you company.
You're lonely. It was weird, yeah.
Well, it's a different Gamma Quadrant, I guess. We got
right. Gamma Quadrant, different rules, right?
So after that, Odo lets the guy go. Why do you think Odo let the guy go? I think I said what I thought a little bit earlier, but did you have any sort of insight into it, or do you think that resolution makes sense?
I'm trying to figure out why he would. Besides, he just follows his own moral compass of what he doesn't believe in what they're doing as far as justice, and so he doesn't see it as justice. He thinks that, it was wrong to punish the child or punish the family for the sins of someone, especially when he doesn't really know what this guy did besides what he confessed to as far as killing the two
bounty hunters,
whatever, officials or police or whatever, yeah, that were coming after him.
Yeah.
But they don't know what he did originally, if anything. So he might actually buy into that at some point. Maybe there's the nugget of truth in the con man's game kind of thing. I just don't know why he finally decided to do it besides just Odo's got a good heart, I guess, is the moral of the story.
I think so. I think that Odo considers, like, I don't know if the father-daughter relationship would be enough to sway Odo. I think it's really just the fact that Odo considers that this guy has shown him personally enough about it, and he doesn't seem to be dangerous at this point. Like, I think that's kind of important. It's good for Odo that he believes the guy's story about why he is under arrest and everything like that. And I guess we're led to believe that the character is being on the straight and narrow with him at that point. But I do feel it's just Odo feels that the debt has been paid to him, and he doesn't have anything left to go on with that. And he's sort of taught him a little bit about himself, although not really, because we still, it ends with the total DS9 Star Trek-y kind of cliffhanger of like, maybe someday I'll find my people out there.
It's such a weird thing where he tells the computer to wait for him while he says the line. It's a weird delivery at the other too.
And he
He's
calls
like, hold
calls the necklace cousin
someday,
too, which is nice.
Cousin, someday. Okay, engage.
Yeah.
So why did you need to do that? You could say that to the medallion after you're flying. You know, you don't have to wait.
Right.
Make the computer wait on your little line there.
Yeah, if we're waiting on like a cross-country flight, I'm not going to finish my eulogy or whatever before I start. Just say, you can take off now. Like, you can take off and I'll start talking.
Okay, I'm done with my piece.
Yeah, I think that we've had a pretty good discussion about this one. Vortex is, it's a character episode, and we're going to take an audio break. I'm going to play a clip, and then me and Modi are going to come back, and we're going to finish up our discussion with what we thought about this episode, read a couple Patron thoughts, and then that'll be it.
And this is where the second audio clip would be. But again, CBS, fuck yourselves. We can't have good things in this world, I guess. So we'll just we'll put me saying fuck you again, CBS, in this one, and then we'll go back to the show.
All right, Modi. So let's get to the patron thoughts. If you guys aren't familiar, if you support the show on Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/thepenskyfile. If you support for any amount of money a month, you can leave comments about the upcoming episodes. We'll read them live on the podcast. So from Magpie's Nest Productions, just wanted to know if you guys agree with Odo's decision at the end of the episode. I assume he's talking about what we talked about in this, right? Like
that he lets the dad and the daughter go.
Yes.
And says they're dead, so they don't get hunted anymore, basically.
I can't think of just to expand on it, I personally agree with his decision, if that's what the question is. I agree that Odo made the right call. I would have had Odo would have been lowered in my esteem if he had taken the guy back and thrown him in jail again at the very end.
That would be an odd look at Odo for sure. That doesn't play to his style and strengths of being his own gauge of justice kind of thing that he does.
It's just too cruel
in past episodes.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like that kind of guy, and he's not gonna kill a daughter basically.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm glad he made the decision he makes. The question, I guess, is if it's true to the character, and I guess it is. I mean, he's the curmudgeonly sheriff of Deadwood here. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like that is the Wild West thing is very much apparent in this episode, especially with the scenes with Quark and Cisco being the mayor and the bartender, and it really rings like a Deadwood episode almost to me.
Yeah, we need Odo out there deputizing people, just slapping slapping a badge on and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I agree with the Odo decision. I'm kind of in your camp. I'm not sure if it makes 100% sense for the character, but it makes more sense than if they didn't do it that way to me. So
yeah,
it's
I don't
kind
think
of
it could have ended any other way.
Yeah, I mean the way around it is just really like if the crime that the guy is wanted for is not any kind of murder at all. If it's some innocuous thing that in the Federation wouldn't be considered a crime, would be the way around it. It is weird that they had the con man commit a actual crime. Like he killed police officers or whatever. Why did he kill the police officers?
It was like self-defense or something. I don't know exactly. He came home to his I guess he found that his family was murdered. His two wives were murdered, is what he said.
Yes.
Both his wives were murdered, and he I don't know if it was anger or if it was just self-defense that he killed the guys. It sounds like in the culture, though, it doesn't seem like they kill you, they just kill your family.
Oh, that's what he says. That's right. Yeah, when you do something, they kill your family as punishment. So he killed the guys who killed his family, which is fine. That's I support his actions.
It's the way they wrote it to be justifiable, basically. Right. Yeah.
Kyle Barrett writes, as a character study for Odo, I feel the episode is quite successful, earning the smile he makes at the end and showing the softer side of the gelatinous hard guy. The scenes in the Nebula look great, and the Miradorn are a cool one-episode bad guy. I'm not sure how I feel about Quark, though, because he is never reprimanded for anything with the series returning to the status quo at its end. There should have been boundaries to his conniving, and being kind of partly responsible for a murder is a little too far. What do you think about that? Do you have any...
Yeah, he basically set that guy up and got the other guy killed.
That's true, yeah.
So... yeah, he doesn't really get into any trouble, though. That's a good point. Odo just kind of moves on with other things. He gets distracted with his con man. He forgets to punch Quark.
Yeah, I always remember this episode. It's just kind of a weird one-off thing. I know that there's the necklace is in this. The shape-shifting necklace is in it.
Mm-hmm.
I always think that when I'm starting to watch it, the little thing that Quark wants at the start is going to be that item, and it's not. It's totally pointless that I bring that up, but that's always something that I notice when I watch the show. I'd agree too. I mean, the Quark thing went a little too far. It all feels like the problems with this episode are that it needs these plot events to happen to move the story forward, and it doesn't totally feel organic or plausible. I think that's it. You guys can vote for what you thought on our 1 to 5 scale about this episode. If you're on YouTube, click in the upper right-hand corner, there's a little gray circle. Click that circle, and a little poll will come up. You can vote on our 1 to 5 scale about what you thought. Now, me and Modi are going to give our thoughts for what we thought about this episode, which is called Vortex. Modi, you can go first.
I am going to give this one a 2.5 because I like the good Quark and Odo stuff. Odo is a great character. There's some questions about what rings true to him, but overall, I think we get some interesting development with him. The guest acting is not particularly good, but it's an interesting episode, I guess. So 2.5.
2.5. I think that it's like a week 3 for me. So it's more interesting in the context of, in the series, I would neither say that this is a good episode. Like in the first season, I would say that this is neither a good nor bad episode. It's kind of like squarely in the middle. When I make the inevitable top 5 and bottom 5, like it's not going to be on either one of those lists. I think it could be, like, I agree with your 2.5 kind of thing too. I'll give it a 2 as my official rating, although I'd say it would be like a high 2. And just say that the story is fine. It just isn't really very exciting. I also kind of dozed off while I was watching this in bed the other day. So it's not like, it's just an episode that doesn't really grab you. I think it's much more important for later on down the line with what we learn about Odo and the Changelings. Because I think it does a good job, unintentionally, it does a good job of setting that up, because I don't believe that they knew what they were going to do at this point, but they kind of tie it in nicely. So I think that that's appropriate. So that's it. I think you'll give it a 2.5. I'll give it a 2. We'll call it a day there with Vortex. So, guys, you can vote on the YouTube video if you're there. You can go to all the social media that's in the video description below. You can go to the podcast blurb. Check out all that stuff. You got Facebook, Twitter, blah, 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 blah. Everyone knows how to do it on podcasts at this point. The only thing I'd recommend is going to patreon.com/the Pensky File. If you want to go there and support the show, it's very, very much appreciated. You get extra content, too. This month we're doing Halloween-themed things because it's October. We've got the 1978 Halloween movie. We'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about It Follows. So you get extra podcasts if you go there. And supporting the show is much appreciated. And everyone over there at the highest tier, I get to shout them out here at the end of the episode. Thank you guys for your support. It's Tariq Latif, Joint Mango, Ben Douglas, Kyle Barrett, Vincent Adultman, Stephen Cobb, Tex Albert, Matthew Ross, and Mike Burnett. Guys, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Modi, thanks for coming on.
Anytime.
You'll be back with the next episode, which is Battle Lines, which is the old battle axe of Battle Lines. But I think that'll be an interesting discussion as well, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yep.
Anything you want to plug? You can check out your YouTube channel. Anything else?
Go watch a video.
Watch
Treat
a video.
yourself.
Yeah, click a thumbs up. Head on over to Modi, click a thumbs up, and it'll all be good. Guys, thank you very much for listening. I'll see you next time.